We built a great company. And just to be sure that we were referable, we did a customer survey. We found out how satisfied customers were with us, whether or not they felt comfortable referring us, and whether they knew anybody that they could refer to us. The response was overwhelming satisfaction, overwhelming willingness to refer. And so that gave us a lot of confidence in moving forward. Believe me, you can't get any simpler than this. This was a simple strategy, but it worked and it was intentional. And never again will I say referrals are just luck. And I would urge each of you to think of a way to build your business around referrals. Now, how does it tie into analytics? We've seen that you have to have a great company built around your brand promise to be referable. That's number one. But what about analytics? Well, don't you want to know who refers you? Of course you do. Don't you want to know where your customers are coming from? Sure you do. We talked about that before, the measuring part. But you can end up with people that you could call most valuable referrers. They might not be your most profitable customers, but you sure want to know who they are, right? Because even though they're not referring or they're not buying all the products that they could from you, their profitability might be through the roof based on who they refer to you. This is something that you want to track in your database. Every new customer that comes to you, you should know what the lead source is, how they came to you. And I want to talk to you about something that is a little offbeat, but that has to do with your referral network. So for your clients, you want to be a great referral source for them. So for example, if I'm serving the banking industry, which is part of what I do, financial services, I've aligned myself with other providers who are in my same industry, who serve the same kind of customer that I do, but who don't compete directly with me. And so I've got a direct marketing agency, I've got a technology firm, I've got a training firm, and on and on. We don't compete, but yet I can refer pieces of business to them and vice versa. That's a great referral strategy that you can't overlook. Here's something else. If you become a most valuable referrer to your clients, you're referring business to your clients, and you make it part of your practice, not just to operate your own internal referral system, but make it a goal, create numeric goals to give referrals to your clients. Be a most valuable referrer to them. And when it comes down to a competitor saying, I think you should do business with me instead of Scott at Nehemiah Worldwide. I can do the same thing he can do, and I can do it cheaper. What I want my client to say is this: you might be able to do it cheaper, and I'll grant you, you might be able to do it as well, although I doubt it, right? But no matter how cheap you do it, you can never make up for the amount of business he refers to me and the amount of money he has saved me off my bottom line. So my ROI of doing business with him is far beyond what the cost savings of doing business with you will ever be. So think about that. Think about making referrals to your clients and how valuable that is. Anybody have anything else on referrals? Anything to add?
We're launching a program within our company to really encourage employees to refer. We're an eye clinic to refer their friends, and adding in some incentives. Where the top referring employee of the month gets a $50 gift card to Best Buy or whatever it is.
Good.
And that's been generating a lot of excitement for us.
Okay. How are your clients responding to it so far? Right, have you launched it?
We launched it last month. Yeah.
Good.
It's going well. Yeah.
Good. Excellent.
You can get your employees excited about something, you can get everybody around you excited about it.
That's right. If your employees aren't excited about referring you, then that's a real issue, isn't it? And
Something we struggle with in the restaurant business, just because a lot of our servers and even our kitchen employees, it's a job.
it's a job.
You know, and I've worked in several different restaurants throughout my lifetime. I find that Jose's has been more family oriented, like we're all a family, and so it's easier for me to say, hey, we're launching this new product in the kitchen, y'all blast it on your Facebook. And I have friends with most of them on Facebook, so I see them post that, or I'll post a picture of it and then they'll share it. And you know, especially with this new organic line that we have coming out, they're really excited about it. It's helping a lot. So
That's such a great segue into the next topic, which is leadership. Because I bet their willingness to make those referrals and do those social media and email blasts are directly correlated with how much they like working there and how well they're treated and how much they really believe in what you stand for at Jose's. Having fun, great service, great food, etc. So the more, once again, that's brand promise in action. The more tied in they are to your brand promise, the more they believe in it, the more they're going to be great referral sources for you. So let's move to leadership. Like I said, a lot of people say, what does leadership have to do with marketing? Well, it's part of a business function, isn't it? Isn't part of the entire business marketing? Sure it is. But it's not taught in business school. And we don't hire for it in marketing. We hire for marketing background, technical skills, etc. But we don't necessarily hire for leadership. But think about what we've talked about today. Think about the monumental effort it takes to construct your brand promise and make it resonate through all aspects of your company. Think about the leadership that just that one thing takes. It's huge. It takes a massive amount of energy to make sure your whole system is cooking on that brand promise and delivering to the customer every single day. That's part of marketing. Think about what it takes to make sure that your marketing automation and analytics system is really being used effectively. Because what you can do in companies, they can have these fancy databases, and all they do is they pump out lists. Hey, give me a list of customers that fit this profile. There you go. Okay, I'm going to make outbound calls. Bye. Somebody over here, hey, give me a list. But the leader of the company or the leader of the marketing team has to say, well, that's all fine and good. I'm glad I'm helping your calling efforts, but let's make a strategy out of this. Think about referrals. If you're not leading in referrals, if you're not making sure that you've built a referral system and measuring how it's done every single day and aren't the lead referrer to your clients. So you've got to lead, and your employees are watching. And there's something called, anybody heard of John Maxwell? There's a book that he wrote. It's called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And the number one law, the very first law, is called the law of the lid. And the law of the lid says, your company or your team will never excel or never grow beyond your ability to lead it. So if your leadership level is a 4, your team or your company will maybe grow to a 3. But the good news is that you can learn leadership. You can practice it. You can get a lot better at it. It's not just, you're just not born into leadership. It's a skill like anything else. So the more you grow as a leader and have marketing at the forefront. Remember, at the very beginning I said the best companies, those that are growing the fastest, put how much time into marketing? 40%. At least 2 days out of 5 are spent in marketing. So it's a critical element to lead, and you can learn to lead it. You don't have to be the expert. You might be an expert. I keep coming back to software design or building homes. That might be your expertise. But you've got to know that these other things exist. And you've got to get good people around you, whether they're in-house or they're outsourced, that can help you execute. And it's not good enough to just hire somebody and say, okay, you got it, take care of it, I'm going to do my thing over here. No. You can't. If you want your company to grow, you've got to spend time with marketing. Here's another thing. So that's marketing leadership. I'm going to talk about overall company and employee leadership for a second. Has anybody ever heard of a study from the Gallup Research Organization called A Study on the American Workplace? If you haven't, I highly encourage you to read it. It's great. 70% of Americans hate their jobs. Did you know that? 70%. You know the number one reason? What's the number one reason? The boss, leadership. They can't stand their boss. So, what's the main thing that we have to fix? The boss, right? We've got to become better bosses. And there's another study. I've got some footnotes down here. But there's another company called LRN Consulting, and they've had some wonderful studies that I love to read. They've basically said there are three kinds of companies based on management structure. One is top-down hierarchical, my way or the highway. The other is a hybrid of that, hierarchical but some freedom. My way or the highway, but to a certain degree, but there's some things I'll let you figure out. That I trust you enough to figure out. Those two represent 97% of all companies. Only 3% really give their employees the freedom to innovate and to create and use their individual gifts and strengths to make the company better within the parameters of the brand promise. And those companies outperform the other 97% financially, hands down. It's a tall order. It makes us uncomfortable. That's not how we're used to doing business.
Well, leaders don't want to give up their control.
Right.
They, like you said, it's total trust issue in your employees. You've hired them for a purpose, let them do their purpose. Let them use their skills.
Exactly. Let them use their skills.
A good leader will help you develop those skills too.
Right. Good leaders help you develop. Absolutely. And so, with that, let me just segue into something else. I found out as I was probably 6 or 7 years ago, as I was kind of getting a little tired of what I was doing in my career, I said, you know, I'm really in the people development business as a leader. You just mentioned that. People development. And as leaders, I don't care what business you're in, whether it's a nonprofit, a restaurant, whatever industry you're in, you're really in the people development business. Helping people really maximize their skills, their individual creativity. That's how you get innovation that Drucker talked about as one of the two key principles of business. And that leads to great customer service and better marketing. And so, with that, I just want to say that that's what my company is about. We are an anti-status quo company. We're named after Nehemiah, who was a great biblical leader. He pushed the status quo. He could have stayed in his comfort zone, but he didn't. And that's what we do, and that's what we help our clients do. We don't want business as usual. We want to do business with companies that want to create great products and services, and that want to create awesome work cultures that attract and keep the best.